Roberto Benigni is one of Italy's most popular actors. Benigni not only found fame as an actor, but also as a writer and director. He is also well known beyond Italy. In 1999 Roberto won the Academy Award for Best Actor, for film Life is Beautiful. His win is the first for a male performer in a non-English speaking role. Born and raised in Monciano la Misericordia, in the province of Arezzo, Tuscany, Roberto Benigni had humble beginnings as a street performer and even played a clown and a magician in his early teens. He was later discovered by the director of an experimental theater group, and subsequently moved to Rome. His movie debut was in 1977 film Berlinguer, I Love You. The film was a sex farce about a construction worker with the unresolved mother issues. Construction worker, played by Roberto, was also a young poet, who fell in love with a sophisticated woman who hated poetry. Roberto had a small part of a bartender in 1979 French romantic drama, Light of a Woman, which starred Yves Montand and Romy Schneider. The film belonged to its stars and nobody paid much attention to Benigni. His next minor role was in another film by a big director. This time it was Bernardo Bertolucci with La Luna. The film starred Gilles Clayburgh and was about the troubled life of a teenage boy and his relationship with his parents, including an incestuous relationship with the mother. Roberto had a small part of an upholsterer. In his review of the film, Roger Ebert said the following about Bertolucci: "He's got a soap opera and a Freudian case history and he's forcing them to copulate." Roberto's next role was the lead in 1979 Marco Ferreri film, Seeking Asylum. Marco was considered one of the greatest European cinematic provocateurs of his time, but Seeking Asylum was a family-friendly comedy entertainment. Benigni played a reluctant nursery school teacher in this film. Around this time Roberto developed his signature persona, building off a body well suited to physical comedy, receding wild hair creating a halo head, tall with gangling limbs accentuated by plain suits worn one size too large, flopping about, and a most expressive comic face, highlighted by an impish grin. His characters are generally down-to-earth urban survivors, relying on their wits and low-level scams to get by, often remaining amazingly ignorant of the mayhem around them, caused either directly or indirectly by their actions or inactions. You Upset Me was a 1983 Italian anthology comedy film written, directed and starring Roberto Benigni. It was both the directorial debut of Benigni and the film debut of Nicoletta Braschi. 8 years later, Roberto and Nicoletta were married. In 1984 Robert Benigni co-directed and starred with Massimo Troisi in the film Nothing Left to Do But Cry. Massimo Troisi later on became well known for Il Postino, for which he was posthumously nominated for 2 Oscars. The time-traveling comedy is about two 20th-century friends who accidentally stumble into the year 1492, where they try to alter history, predictably with comic results. A chance meeting at an Italian film festival led film director Jim Jarmusch to cast Benigni in 1986's Down by Law, his U.S. debut. The comic nearly stole the film as an Italian tourist, thrown into a New Orleans jail cell occupied by 2 deadbeats who knows little English but tries to engage the others in conversation. Benigni himself knew little English at the beginning of the film's production. Even better was his second film for Jarmusch, Night on Earth, released in 1990. Where Benigni's gifts for monologue and improvisation shine. In Night on Earth he plays the taxi driver who confesses his sex life to a priest, pumpkins, sheep, and more. Roberto Benigni achieved superstardom in Italy in the late 1980s and early 1990s through 3 consecutive box office blockbusters. Little Devil, with co-star Walter Matthau as a priest whose life is made chaotic by Benigni's devil, was released in 1988. Johnny Stecchino, where a bus driver is mistaken for a mob boss, to comic effect, with Roberto playing both roles, also co-starred his wife Nicoletta Braschi. 1994 film The Monster is his best film to date, another case of mistaken identity in which Benigni's witless Aaron Boyle-Orris is suspected, through a hilarious sequence of misinterpreted police videotape footage, of being serial rapist and murderer. Along the way, Benigni was cast against type in Federico Fellini's final film, Voice of the Moon, which has yet to be released in the United States. Roberto has, however, become a favorite of the American art house crowd through his Jarmusch films and his self-directed efforts. Such success has led to his ill-fated debut in a major U.S. film, in the box office failure, son of the Pink Panther, where his best efforts were undermined by an inferior script. Roberto Benigni's other films include big-budget adaptation of French comic book series, Asterix and Obelix vs. Caesar, where he played Roman legionnaire. In 2002 Pinocchio, written, directed and starring Roberto Benigni, came out in theaters. Robert played Pinocchio himself. Pinocchio was selected as the Italian entry for the Best Foreign Language Film at the 75th Academy Awards, but it was not nominated. English dubbed version of the movie was released in the United States to bad reviews. In 2005 Roberto Benigni again worked with Nicoletta Braschi in Tiger in the Snow, which he again wrote, directed and starred in. The film, co-starring Jean Reno, is set in Roman Baghdad during the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and follows Roberto Benigni's character as he desperately journeys to Baghdad to save the love of his life from her impending death. The Iraq scenes were filmed in Tunisia with Italian actors playing U.S. soldiers. The film received generally unfavorable reviews. To Rome with Love is a 2012 magical realist comedy directed by Woody Allen. The film featured an ensemble cast including Allen himself. Roberto played a clerk who wakes up to find himself a celebrity. To Rome with Love was a box office success. It earned over $73 million from the $17 million budget. Roberto Benigni's most recent film is again Pinocchio. This time he did not direct the film. Instead he played Pinocchio's father Geppetto. The film was highest-grossing film of the Christmas week in Italy. Reviews of the film were generally positive. Speaking about the film, Roberto said the following. Geppetto is really very poor, and as it begins, he is looking to eat something. He must make Pinocchio from one piece of wood that is given to him. My father was very, very poor. He lived in Tuscany, where Pinocchio was born. Me, I was born about 10 kilometers from where Pinocchio was born.